Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to October, the month of Oktoberfest, Sober October, and fancy office parties. And I thought it might be a good idea to make kind of a Pinot and Pixel Classic episode for episode number 197 and just dig out an old episode on how to perfectly prepare for a wine fair. It's an episode I recorded in April for the festival season, actually, and I'm currently making my schedule for the end of the year and the first quarter, and there is so many fairs. I mean, there's the big ones like Pro Wine or Wine Paris, but there's also some smaller ones, and some of them are already starting in October and in November. So if you are looking for the perfect preparation for your next wine fair, listen to this episode and do me a favor, recommend it to a friend who might be also interested in this perfect preparation. Have fun.
Welcome to the Pinot Pixel podcast episode number 151. Thanks for staying on this podcast. Even though I switched it to English, I got some positive feedback. Thank you very much for that. So today, after Vinitaly, after Pro Wine, right before London Wine Fair, I thought it might be a good idea to give you my top 10 tips to master your next wine fair. And we start right into this episode with point number 1, preparation is key. No matter what wine fair you're going to visit, it's always huge. There's only a few days available. It's hundreds of halls. Sometimes Pro Wine has 17 or 18 halls. Vinitaly has 17 halls. And London Wine Fair will be as big as all the others. So preparation is key. Study the list of exhibitors. Study the wine lists. Take notes beforehand. Appoint meetings. And of course, check the events list, the tasting lists in advance. There might be some interesting masterclasses as well. There's usually an educational program all around the wine fairs. And focus on the things you're most interested in. You will never manage to see all the wine exhibitors, all the stands, all the products. It's impossible. So just focus on the things that are important for you, depending on, of course, what you're focused on: business, tastings, products, networking, whatever. Second tip, bring professional gear. And I'm not only talking about camera, power bank, because the camera will run out of energy, out of battery, microphones if you want to take interviews. I'm also talking about notebooks. And it might be a good idea to do this on paper. I usually prefer to take my iPad because I have it in a digital version. I can browse it, I can search for it. So this is my personal view. Nevertheless, I always have a second book with me. So just a notebook with a pencil, just in case the other one runs out of battery, or I don't know, it's right in between two meetings and I just want to take a note briefly. You can also use your mobile phone, but taking notes is essential. And when I'm talking about professional gear, I'm also talking about a bag or a backpack that is easy to carry, that is not always in your way and uncomfortable. And the same thing accounts for your clothes and especially your shoes. Of course, for some people it's interesting to be good looking, but in the end, walking 3 days in a row on a fair, and I don't know, usually I walk between 5 and 12 kilometers at a fair. Wear the shoes you're most comfortable in, not the shoes that are best looking. Just a recommendation. And don't forget, bring business cards. I guess every one of us has experienced this. Oh, I ran out of business cards. A good thing is always use your phone and have a digital version on it. And pro tip, when you have 2 iPhones, so your business partner, your friend, your colleague you just met has an iPhone as well, just connect them top by top, and through AirDrop, just magically, they exchange the contacts. So prepare your contact, your personal contact in your address book beforehand, and then do it like this. I usually have a sticker with a QR code of my VC card on the back of my mobile phone. So different ways, but business cards are essential. Third tip, engage with people. Talk to winemakers, talk to producers, talk to export managers. I mean, it's all about networking, it's all about connection, and people try to remember people. You won't remember products, or rarely, but You remember people, you remember stories, be interested. Try to do some small talk, even though you're under pressure. Small talk is the key. And afterwards, we'll talk about catching up and following up. Try to remember those stories. I always take notes on this kind of stuff and then bring it into the story, and the connection would be much better. Next thing, it's a wine fair. Taste responsibly. There's always the question, spit or swallow, and I get it. If you have a once-in-a-lifetime wine in your mouth, you can swallow it, no worries. But if you are on a wine fair and your focus is, finding the next big Barolo or tasting all the Brunelli vintage in comparison, the whole vintage in comparison, it's a bad idea to swallow. And even if you just spit, there is some wine that you get through saliva and stuff in your body, and you will feel kind of dizzy after having tasted 120 wines. It's quite dangerous as well if you have to drive afterwards, but just in general, if you want to memorize the maximum amount of this fair, spit. And if there's no spittoon, ask for it. Or we talked about the red cups, just bring a cup. I always have a paper cup with me, or usually the wine fairs just provide cups like that if there is no plastic cup available or something like this. And I was in Serbia last year, and they totally forgot to serve to provide the plastic cap. So what the guys at the stands did, they took a wine bottle. They took a water bottle, a plastic water bottle, and they just cut the head off, and this was their spittoon. So in the end, there's always a possibility. Spitting is better than swallowing. Talking about wine. The next thing that really connects to the point number 4, number 5 is stay hydrated and snack something in between. Drink water. Water is available everywhere usually. You can even ask at the stands to get some water in your glass before you taste the next wine. And snacks, put in some power bars or have a slice of bread with you. Snack in between to, for example, if you have swallowed some wine or if you just need energy, this is always a good idea. Snack in between and stay hydrated. Insider hack. Tasting many, many wines results in hurting teeth. Why is that? There's acidity in wine. Sometimes there's sugar, there's alcohol, and all this kind of stuff is not good for your teeth. So after 1 day or at the latest 2 days, you will get problems with your teeth, especially when you turn older and your tooth enamel is damaged. My personal insider hack is bring a toothpaste with artificial tooth enamel. So when you brush your teeth, you just re-add some coverage, some protection on your teeth, and it's better to use a soft toothbrush. Why is that? When you have a softer toothbrush, you destroy less of the already destroyed coverage enamel, so it's easier and it's also better for the flesh not to get hurt. In addition, so soft toothbrush and an artificial tooth enamel flavored or blended. How do you say that? I don't know. A toothpaste with artificial tooth enamel is key. There are some brands available. I guess mine is called Bionic. Something like that. 20% artificial tooth enamel. Pro tip. Next important thing. Keep track. Stay focused. Stick to your plan. And if you get the feeling that there's too much in your plan, sometimes things happen we don't know beforehand, add priorities to your list. Do I really have to visit this producer? Would it be something cool in addition, but I don't really have to go there? This is a good place. So stick to your plan. And when you make your plan, I forgot this in the beginning, always think about there is some distance you have to cover in between halls, in between exhibitors, in between stands. Don't forget that sometimes it takes 5 to 10 minutes to come from one hall to another, even though there's a taxi available. There's people, sometimes it's overcrowded. So also take this into consideration. You need some time to cover the distance. You're in a wine fair, so it is also a good idea to check special purchasing options. Some wineries, some producers have special offers just during the fair. I don't know, the first mover or something like this, or add up to our newsletter and you get 10% of the wine fair prices, something like this. Ask for it or just keep your eyes open if you spot some stuff like that. So the wine fair is done. You stick to your plan. You spit it. You had an amazing experience. And in the end, what do you do after the fair? You sit in the train, you take a deep breath, and you try to get home and just rediscover your work-life balance. Very important thing, of course. But in the end, there's 2 more tips that are really important for me after wine fairs. First of all, review your notes and your meetings. Maybe add some notes as well. What was the most important thing? What was your takeaway out of this specific meeting, out of this specific talk, chat, tasting, event, masterclass, whatever? Because even though you think you still have it all in your mind, 1 week later, almost everything is gone. I mean, you can remember specific moments, but the things that might be important, it's always better to take notes and to take a short summary. And I mean, my summary of Vinitaly is part of this podcast in a few minutes. And it's important for me, and maybe it's important for you. And number 10, and this is probably one of the most important things, do the follow-up, mails, phone calls, whatever. Just catch up with the people you met. And if you remember, you took notes about probably the small talk specific connection right in between the both of you. And so jump on this one. It was really nice to meet you. Thanks for the tasting of this and that. And I was so surprised that you and me are the same vintage. And I love the story you told about your father or your family or your region. This is always a good thing to catch up. And to me, it was always a good idea to wait probably 5 to 6 days after the fair, because the next 2 or 3 days after the fair, everybody's busy. I mean, producers, they try to catch up with all the orders, or they're preparing their review and follow-up emails. So maybe 3, 4, 5 days later, this is a good time when everything has calmed down again. People are more relaxed, they're more focused, they're back on track. And this is a good idea to jump back on this train, get yourself back into the brain of the person you met, and a good moment, an interesting moment you had together. So basically, this is it. This is what I usually do before, during, and after a wine fair. And this does not only account for wine fairs, it's also for fairs in general. So preparation, stay focused, take notes, network, and in the end, follow up. Usual thing during fairs and events. So what did really happen at Vinitaly? What was Vinitaly's summary? What was my personal summary? There was an article on Vinitaly, kind of a recap of the organization team. They almost regained their 100,000 visitors. It was 97, so plus 4,000 compared to last year. For them, it was a successful fair. They had good weather, and people were really interested in the products in the city. Verona was quite, so I won't say overcrowded, but it was quite full. The fair was quite satisfied with the visitors and with everything they reached. I had the feeling that at least on Sunday and Monday, it was quite overcrowded. There were many people in the fairs, and it was quite tough to catch up with some of the people. I managed to do all my meetings until Tuesday, so I didn't have to go to the fair on Wednesday again, so I was only there for 3 days, and I took the 4th day off to go to Soave, Valpolicella and Licini to just visit some wineries and have a look in the vineyards. It's a really interesting area all around there, and usually when people go down south and they take the motorway, they take Lago di Garda north or south and just go to the Lago. This time I went to the left side, and it's a beautiful area. It's a beautiful countryside. It's the lower part of the Alps going down southern to the flatlands. Let's call it the flatlands. Beautiful area, beautiful view, amazing sites for vineyards, for wines, and great wines as well. Can really highly recommend this area to visit. My personal recap, I had the feeling it was quite similar to the one I had at ProWine. Many people are scared of the current situation in the market. Wine production still up. They struggle in selling their wines. Wine consumption is going down. You more and more hear those kind of, we struggle in selling our wines. People don't like it anymore. People are not into wine anymore. People like cocktails more. This might be an advantage for Italy because they have the Aperol spritz, they have the limoncello stuff. They have a cocktail culture, I would say. Then also I heard the story of the 2023 vintage that was quite low in yields. I guess it was one of the lowest yields in the last 70 years. And this should be a good thing because 2022 was high yielding. They have a lot of stuff in their cellar. They struggled to sell 22. Right now they have less in 23. Sounds like balance to me, but it isn't. And this might have something to do with especially Italians. Consumers over there tend to buy the newest vintage, the freshest vintage. So they ask for 2023. And if there's just few bottles available, they won't stick to 2022. They won't drink 2022. Maybe this is the fear that producers had. I don't know. But this was my general feeling. What I discovered in tastings, in talks, in chats with people, and also in events and masterclasses I took part in, they focus on quality, they focus on terroir, they focus on origin, and they do a lot of storytelling on all those three things. DOC, DOCG, even IGT is a big thing, and they try to focus on their origin while talking about wine. Another thing that was really interesting, especially surprised me every now and then in Italy, they focus on lighter wines. I mean, I haven't talked to an Amarone or Barolo producer that says, yeah, right now we're going down to 12%. No. But what I discovered is when you talk to people who are usually into white wines, into sparkling wines, especially Prosecco, they said, we discovered that people ask more and more for lower alcohol wines. So we try to make a Prosecco with 10.5 or 11 alcohol. We try to make a Vermentino or a Verdicchio or Trebbiano, all those quite refreshing but also quite neutral grape varieties, especially from northern Italy, at a lower level of alcohol, so between 10 and 12, because people ask for it. And when you right now think, oh, this is an opportunity for no alcohol wines, it isn't. Alcohol-free is a crazy thing. In Italy, I had many chats. I tried to find as many products as possible. There were only a few, and it's quite easy. It's quite simple. In Italy, you're either a winery or a distillery, and as a winery, you're not allowed to de-alcoholize wine because it's not allowed to store the final alcohol resulting of the de-alcoholization to store at the winery. So most of the de-alcoholized products you find are from Spain, are from Germany, and probably the best de-alcoholized wines available in Italy are made in Germany. And this is totally fine because Germany is the mature market. I totally get it. The products I've tasted, the products we've tasted, were usually grape juice and carbonized, so added CO2, so probably sparkling grape juice. Some quite interesting products made of Moscato, natural flavored, but there were also some products that had artificial flavors and a huge list of those additives. E300 was the easiest one, but just when you see the list of 10 or 15 additives, it feels a bit awkward. And usually when you taste those kind of products, it also feels, it tastes, it smells artificial. So not my personal thing. I would 1 or 2 products, but in total, I would say if you're looking for a good alcohol-free product, Italy might not be the market to go at the moment. I guess this will change, but I will put the link in the show notes. There was the article probably 1 or 2 days after Vinitaly had started of the Italian Minister of Agriculture, who calls out that please, if we de-alcoholize wine, remove the word wine from the label because it's not wine. We shouldn't call this wine. Please use a different word, but don't call it wine. And to me, this symbolizes what is currently happening in the market. It's totally fine. It's a traditional market. People try to stick on history, on tradition, and also on their storytelling, and alcohol-free might not fit this current standing of the market. Totally fine. I guess this will change in the future and some products will enter the market as well. And I mean, 2 of the biggest Italian products are well known in Germany, and one is even the best sold product in Germany. It's Doppio Passo and the other one is Mio Netto. So big brands, I guess many of you know. It's Italian, produced in Germany, and it's also de-alcoholized in Germany and brought to the market. And those are the drivers of the category of no alcohol. So this is totally fine. Yeah, so in the end, if you're interested in the Italian market, if you're interested in the new vintages of the Italian market, if you're interested in discovering upcoming regions, traditional regions, and you want to talk to some really passionate people, Vinitaly is the place to go. It's focused on the Italian market. There's some stuff from Slovenia, from Croatia, from Hungary, but the main focus is Italy. And if you are into Italian wines, this is your fair to go. And even though there were just a few products lower in alcohol or no alcohol, it might be also a good idea to go there when you're interested in those kind of products. But I guess currently, if you're in discovery mode, and you try to, I don't know, stock up your portfolio in the wine shop or in the online shop, I guess there's better places to go at the moment. Thank you for listening. Have a great week. See you on Saturday with the weekly update. Ciao, ciao.